Hey everyone, so in this video I'm just going to go over an attack team that I built for another player of a game and kind of the tips that I give someone after I actually built them a team, kind of how you would actually use the team, because that is just as important as the characters themselves. Now don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel for more content and information. So the team I put together is a Priya lead with Krista as a damage dealer, Ivanova as a supporter, Dr. Stevens for control, and Sadiq as the command toon. So my idea for this team is that it won't be very effective against an angel lead, but against other lead toons it should be fairly effective. So throughout this video I will replay a clip twice just so that I can go over all the important points. So the first time I'm just going to let it kind of run through so you can see how this player ended up going about their normal attack. And then in the second part of the clip, I'm going to say what I would have done differently and kind of explain why I would have done it a certain way. In my opinion, it's really important to not only build a team, but then see how the team actually functions in battle. It can help you see if there are obvious points that you missed when creating the team, if you need to make some mod adjustments, if you need a different weapon. There's just a huge variety of different things that you can come across from just testing a team. So whenever you end up building a team, test it, test it, test it. Honestly, the more times that you lose with a team, the better you will get. Because if you're losing now, it means you're learning how to win. You're learning what you shouldn't do, and it'll help you prepare for things like war and raids and onslaught, and you'll just have a better idea of how toons can function when they're used to their full potential. So now as a replay of this tape, so the first thing the player does is attack Amber with Krista. Then they follow up by using Dr. Stevens. Now this is a mistake, because as we see, Dr. Stevens ends up giving AP to himself and also charges Krista. What he wanted to do was actually attack with Priya and Krista first before using Dr. Stevens. By attacking with Priya and Krista first, he would have charged both of their rushes, meaning on the second turn, they would both be able to rush at the very beginning of a turn. Now, Krista, with her Waste Knot ability, can easily be comboed by using her active skill to defense down the enemy. Then you could follow up with commanding with Sadiq so that she could rush the opponent. Priya, on her rush, can attack up to 3 times if she doesn't have a double attack weapon or a rampage weapon. But she's still quite powerful, especially as an S-class toon. Now, I did do a video explaining how Dr. Stevens' AP gain and other unnatural AP gains can be leveraged. In simple terms, the rich get richer. The toons with the highest amount of flat AP will get the additional unnatural AP gain. This is a great tip to keep in the back of your mind, especially when attacking and when on defense. Now, this next team is a bit more difficult to face, and this player, as you see, made some adjustments. As you see, when Dr. Stevens used his rush after Priya and Krista, both of them were charged. He was also able to taunt and impair 3 enemies. This taunt forced 3 toons to attack Dr. Stevens, and this in turn set off Dr. Stevens' weapon, which gave Ivanova enough AP in order to rush. Now, a lot of people might question my choice of Ivanova on this attack team, but what I like about Ivanova is her active skill, which gives a plus 25% attack boost to the whole team, as well as focus. Focus, as we know, is a great method of getting around human shields, as well as ignoring the effects of taunt and confuse. What's also great about Ivanova is that she's a green toon, meaning she can hold a green stun on attack weapon, which can be very effective when attacking the enemy. Now, as you see, this raid is pretty unsuccessful at the moment. After losing 2 characters, it seems like it's just going downhill. And there are some tips and strategies that I'm going to mention in the second playing of this tape that would definitely help in this raid overall. I'm only going to be going over a few of the tips that I would have, and some of them just have to do with understanding your toons as well as the opponent's toons. and you're going to recognize a lot of common toons on defensive teams because there's a lot of toons that players use either because they're really good or really accessible. So by understanding different toons kits, it'll enable you to become a better player. So we ended up getting the win at the end because Priya was able to rush and kill Angel. Now going back to the start of the film, we did the right thing by attacking Pete first. We dazed him so that he can't heal on the next turn. Unfortunately, we ended up targeting Pete with Dr. Stevens' rush when we should have targeted Magna. If we had targeted Magna, it means she wouldn't have been able to shield this turn and get that plus 50% defense bonus. Another nitpicky thing that I have to say is if Ivanova had her active skill maxed out, she would be a lot more effective on this team. Right now, she can't use her active skill until turn 3, which is a little too late for this attack team, which has its rushes on turn 2. So if Ivanova was able to use her active skill on turn 2, the whole team would be focused. So even if the human shield had a taunt resist, the team would be able to attack around the human shield and ignore it. You could also have used Priya's active skill to remove the plus 50% defense bonus on Magna on that second turn. You could have then used Sadiq to command rush her so that she could do more damage because of the trade advantage on Magna. Another option was using Krista's active focus and defense down before command rushing her. And another option is of course using Sadiq's active skill, which is a confuse active skill. By using confuse, you're able to control the enemy for an extra turn. Sadiq is actually a really useful command toon because he can impair an enemy if he has an impair weapon. When he rushes, I believe he also impairs and also gives an AP gain to his teammates. His active skill is a confuse ability, and of course, he's a commander. Let me know in the comments section below if there's anything you think I missed when talking about that raid in particular. We're on to one last raid before the end of this video, and I hope you guys have been enjoying this so far. I know this video is a little bit different than what I've usually done, but I've done a lot of specific team building for people, as many of you know, but I haven't gone over a lot of the film that you guys have sent in to me, where I actually analyze how you use your attack teams and kind of what I see when I look at a team and its potential. And I don't just look at if it's a win or a loss, but I look at ways to make a team more efficient and strategies or patterns to recognize so that I can make better decisions on the fly. Now, the first issue I have with this initial attack is attacking Rick. I know that this Rick, as a 6-star, has a confuse bat, so if you attack him, you have a chance of actually confusing yourself. This is a huge problem on a team where you have 2 S-class characters, one being Priya and one being Krista. If Priya was confused and attacked Krista, she would have a chance of actually killing her. Same as if Krista had attacked Ivanova or really any other toon on this team, just because of how strong offensive toons are and how weak their defense and HP usually is, because you're modding them and giving them weapons that already enhance their attacking strength. So we're looking at this film again just because I didn't have enough time in the first part, but what we're seeing is that we could have used Dr. Stevens' active skill on a toon like Tyrese, because Tyrese has a type advantage against Krista, and Tyrese is a more offensive toon. So when we're taking a look at advantages and disadvantages, we wouldn't want Rick to attack Dr. Stevens because of the trade advantage of strong against fast, or Tyrese is tough against alert on Krista. Regina is a bit of a different situation because her rush has maim damage, so many people give her HP and defense mods because whenever she rushes, she applies a flat amount of damage. Yumiko is a Generation 1 toon, so she doesn't apply very much damage, and Eric is a very defensive toon himself, meaning he doesn't apply a lot of damage either. The ideal toon for Krista to rush on would be Rick, because her trade advantage would give her extra power, meaning her waist knot would carry over more damage onto an adjacent target. It is so important to understand the strengths of your team and how to utilize every part of a toon. Honestly, there are lots of parts of toons that people underutilize because they don't understand it completely. Like, I personally like using Priya's active skill to remove positive effects from the enemy. So this is great, especially if there's a human shield, because that plus 50% defense bonus can be huge. By removing that, you're enabling yourself to do more damage to the target, which means more kills. There are lots of toons that people undervalue, like this Ivanova that just came out. I did a video on her expressing how much I like her active skill, but in practice, it's even better. Sure, the attack up isn't very high, but the focus ability is the real selling point. Her rush is nothing to be written home about, and I personally have not leveled it up, but I have actively leveled this active skill, and I plan on using her on a couple of attack teams, including an onslaught team, because this ability is something that's very difficult to come by. One of the other toons that I think has an underutilized active skill that people complain about a lot, and I understand why, because she uses this active skill all the time on defense, which can be really annoying because instead of attacking and applying damage, she is doing basically a non-action, which allows her to actually be killed sometimes. But when used on attack, it's a great way to combo her waste not ability off of a rush. By using defense down and getting focus, and then being able to command rush her, or using another toon on the toon that has defense down, you can do a huge amount of damage, and I think it's very much undervalued. At this time, I want to say thank you very much to The Raven for the film and allowing me to use this as a breakdown. I think it's important to kind of explain how my thought process works when going about attacking teams, and I really do think that film shows a lot more than everything on paper. It really helps you improve and see where your mistakes might be, or where there's no mistakes but improvements could still be made. I also want to give a shout out to Nikki and Digny for being my first two patrons on my YouTube channel. I really appreciate the support, and it's much appreciated, so thank you very much. And thank you everyone now for watching and listening to my video.